Hello, friends. We are live with Dharma Talk Tuesday. And of course, it's not Tuesday, it's Wednesday. But I made a little oopsie as I sent out to my list this morning, and I was like, I totally dropped the ball yesterday on Dharma Talk Tuesday. So, big apologies for that. I'm so sorry that I totally forgot. I'm just be honest with you. I forgot yesterday was Tuesday. I was at a leadership graduation. My team was graduating, and normally graduations are on Sundays, but this particular training does them on during the week. And so it was actually Tuesday. And next thing you know, I'm getting text messages at 7 o'clock and everyone's like, where are you? Like, are you okay? And I'm like, oh my God, Dharma Talk Tuesday. So we're just making it work. We're doing it today. Hi, Jody. Hello, hello, hello to each of you that's joining. So we're talking about today on Dharma Talk Tuesday, the 3 key shifts to raising your energy set point. And what I was talking about in the email that went out about this is essentially this idea that your energy, your manifesting, is sort of like a thermostat. So how do thermostats work? Someone put in the comment thread, how do thermostats work? And while you do that, I'm going to say hello. Shawnee, I saw your email. Thank you. I'm so happy you're here. I love you too. Hi, Stephanie. I saw your message. I'll be getting back to you very soon. Shamika, always good to see you here. So loyal and committed, even when Dharma Talk Tuesday is happening on the wrong day. All right. Cool. And you know what? Facebook seems to have updated their algorithm so I can actually see your pictures at the top, which is really cool. That's different. And the chat thread is taking up a ton of space. I'm just gonna move that to the side for now. And if you wanna move your chat thread, you guys, this is all like different and new. You can like move the chat thread, you can swipe it to the right. And that way it's not like completely covering me up. That's like a new thing Facebook is doing. Jody says, how do thermostats work? So the way that a thermostat works is that you set the temperature at a certain level and then it will maintain that heat level. So if you set the thermostat to 66 degrees, then whenever the heat starts to go up in the room, then the AC goes on. And then as soon as the temperature starts to go down, then when it hits 66, the AC goes off. Or like if you set it to like 80 degrees, the heat's gonna go on and stay on until you hit 80 degrees, then it's gonna turn off until it hangs out there for a little bit. But it's not like the heat stays on indefinitely or the AC stays on indefinitely. It's like it tries to keep itself at that temperature. So the way an energy set point works is that it's keeping you at that energetic temperature. Okay, so while people are joining, and if you, by the way, if you know anyone who would be interested in shifting their energy set point, like the thermostat that your life is set at, your money, your relationships, your energy, if you know somebody who wants to experience a shift in that, tag them in the thread below or hit the share button on this live so that they know to come and join us. Okay, so before I go into that, I just want to say, you know what? I just want to give a little props to the class that just graduated. I just want to give a little shout out to my hardcore leadership class 2. We were HCL2. I was one of the I was one of the coaches, one of the seniors. I'm actually captaining one of the next ones, which is super exciting. But I just want to give a little shout out to that group. I just want to say one of the things I love about leadership work is that, you know, people say like you can't teach an old dog new tricks, but in this space, people shift and transform of all ages, of all backgrounds. Like it doesn't matter who you are, where you come from. This is a very like leadership oriented space, and what I mean by that is hardcore leadership is full of like influencers and people at that like entrepreneurs and people at that level of higher influence. Like they're really on a mission to go out and influence thousands of people. And one of the things that I said in front of the room yesterday was every time I looked at one of these individuals, even if they came to me in their breakdown or in their rackets or in their frustration and their challenges, I didn't see them. I saw 1,000 other people that they were going to impact or impacting, or 1,000,000 other people that they were impacting or that they're going to impact. Like I didn't see one person. I saw all the people that they're here to shift and change. And like if you're watching this right now, you're probably that person too. Like, Aaron Freed just joined. Aaron, what's up? Thank you for the hearts and likes. So like, Aaron is somebody in the world who helps you identify where you are in the astrological chart of things. Aaron, feel free to like comment below with what you do. But like, I love hearing the insights that he gives, because he helps me understand my place in things astrologically, like where I'm at in my flow, like what would be going with the current, what would be going against the current. So he helps people make sure they're going with the current as opposed to against it, which if you can like catalyze your energy, that's very powerful, right? He influences lots of people. Every single one of you, I'm looking at every single one of you, you all like, Shamika, and the way that she shifts the minds of how people understand and can live with disability, and like shifting into empowerment. You know, like there's thousands of people that are waiting to hear her message, or that are already hearing her message and that she's making a difference for. And in those moments of breakdown, it's like, well, what about those thousands of other people that need to hear from me? And I told the group that's how I was committed to seeing them. Every time I saw them, whether they were up or down, it didn't matter. I saw them as an influencer of thousands. So, you know, your voice matters, your energy matters, your message matters. And I just want to take this moment right now to remind you of that, because I think it's sometimes we forget, you know, in those selfish moments of like, I'm like having a breakdown, which is nothing wrong with having a breakdown. Believe me, I have them too. Clearly, based on results of missing yesterday's Dharma Talk Tuesday. But I didn't beat myself up. I was just like, oops. And here we are, right? And here you are. Yeah, Jody says, Aaron, help me. Aaron's amazing. So, all right. So that's leadership. And I just wanted to give a little shout out to that group. I'm super proud of them. So if you stay to the end of this conversation today, I have a surprise for you. So I have a surprise for the first 7 people who message me and claim something that I will be talking about. So just so you know, it's a little something, a little treat that I have for you if you stay to the end. And it's going to make a lot more sense once I get into the content here. I'm looking at my notes right now. So let's talk about this. Let's talk about energy set points. I introduced at the beginning that we're talking about the energy thermometer that we create in our lives. So it's sort of like this. It's like, have you ever had an experience where you made a ton of money? Like something happened where you made this like windfall of cash. Lottery winners, great example of this. But then something happens where you lose it, like a medical challenge, or like a family member in need, or like a car repair issue, like you need new tires, or like, you know, if you look at lottery winners, like they lose those millions so fast again for some reason. What's the deal with that? Why does it happen that way? Like, why does it happen where we can bring in a ton of money and the next thing you know, it's like we're back to where we were? And it's not like we're lower than we were before, It's like we're right at where we were before. That's the energy set point. That's the thermostat. And it's like that in relationships too. It's like you'll get to a certain level of intimacy and connection with other people or another person, and then you actually unconsciously do something to sabotage that relationship so that your intimacy stops at a certain point. The connection and the love stops at a certain point. And it's because there's a level that you're willing to connect at, and then beyond that is like uncomfortable for you. And it's not conscious. It's not like we do these things consciously. It's not like you need new tires on purpose or consciously. That's not what it is at all. It's a subconscious energy set point that happens in our energetic being. Okay, so it's all energy. I'm studying and listening to T. Harv Eker right now, and the thing he keeps saying over and over and over and over and over and over again is that it's all energy. It's all energy. It's all energy. And here's what's cool about that. If there's something that you're unhappy with in your life, anything, you can shift it. You have the power to shift it, because all you need to do is shift your energy. So that's what we're talking about today, is shifting your energy set points. I'm super sniffly. I feel like I'm going to sneeze. I had an interview earlier, and I was in the middle of the interview. I was like, I feel like I'm going to sneeze. So excuse me for the sniffliness. So I want to talk about the 3 key shifts to raise your energy set point. So let's say your thermostat is set to like a vibration of 50. okay? And you want to elevate it to like 100. There are certain things you can do to shift that energy set point up. And that's what we're talking about today. Hearts and likes if you're excited about that. Let's see some feedback here. Give me some life. Give me some hearts, some likes. Jody says it's all energy. Exactly. Hearts and likes. Hearts and likes. Hearts and likes. Hearts and likes. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Awesome. Cool. Thanks, you guys. All right. Here we go. Get a notebook and pen, because this is a juicy one. So, energy set point shift number 1. Here's the first key. Are you ready? Ready for number 1? Number 1 is be willing to be wrong. Be willing to be wrong. Be willing to be wrong. Hi, Dina. Hi, Nikki. Okay, so be willing to be wrong. So why is this important? Because if you're, let's just use that other analogy, if you're at the 50 mark and you're both feet in, let's say, at the 50 mark, and you want to get to the 100 mark, there are some shifts in your ways of being and your energy and the things that you're doing and the other things we're going to be talking about in a second that need to occur in order for you to shift up to the 100 level, to the 100 level mark. So here's the problem. If you're committed to being right, which is the opposite of being willing to be wrong, if you're committed to being right, then it's going to be really hard for you to shift, because here's what the brain does. The brain looks for evidence around certain belief systems. So we can only hold about 7 conscious thoughts. We can only notice 7 conscious things at any given moment. But we're taking in about 50,000 pieces of information in our surroundings sensorially in every moment. We can only hold 7. So the way that the brain determines which of those 7 we're going to take in is based on our filters and our beliefs. So if you're willing to be wrong about your beliefs, you create an opening for them to shift. And then what's amazing is you start to notice the solutions all around you. Because if you're committed to being right about your beliefs, then you'll keep noticing those same 7 things, and those same 7 things are what's going to keep you at that energy set point. So I'll give you an example. I'll never forget this. This was it was such a huge breakthrough aha moment for me. So I was doing endurance training a few years ago. I was training for a half marathon. It was back when I lived in St. Louis, and I remember I was doing hill repeats, and there was this one hill near the neighborhood that I lived in, and it was such an intense hill. And all I could think about was how much I wanted water. I wanted water so badly. I'm like going up and down the hill, and I've got this feeling, this thought, this belief, like I'm just going to get water when I get home. Like I'm just going to suffer through this, and I'm just going to get water when I get home. So I'm doing like 10 hill repeats, up and down, up and down, up and down. By the 8th hill repeat, I'm like breaking. And there's something really special about that breaking moment. Like Baron Baptiste talks about this. He actually he's a yoga teacher. If you don't know him, he's a famous yoga teacher. And his goal is to have everyone on the floor in child's pose. Like if he can have everyone on the floor in child's pose, and he's like, I've done my job. But he says the pose starts when you want to get out of it, because that's when things start to open up. Like when you start to feel tired and exhausted and depleted and in breakdown, that's actually amazing, because that means things are going to open up for you. So, okay, so I'm on the 8th hill repeat. I am thirsty. I am sweaty. I am exhausted. I am at the end of my rope. And it's the 8th hill repeat. I start to go up. I happen to turn my head to the right. And to the right of me is a water fountain. That water fountain had been there the whole time. It's not like it randomly, boop, like popped up on the 8th hill repeat. It was actually there the whole time. But I was so in my belief of like, I just got to get through this. I got to struggle through this. I got to suffer through this, and I'll get water when I get home. I was so in that focus, in that intensity, and in that like commitment and that belief that I didn't even notice. Like I wasn't even open to seeing the fact that there was a water fountain right there. And our life is like that. Like the things that we're looking for, the things that we need, the money, the relationships, the solution, like it's all right there. But sometimes we're more committed to, it sounds crazy see, but sometimes we're more committed to being right about the limitation, about the struggle, about the suffering, than we are to being willing to be wrong. Like, well, what could be working right now? Like, what could be around me? Oh, there's a water fountain. Awesome. I can stop my suffering right now. It's like, there's something in you. It sounds crazy, but there's actually something in you. Like, we love to be right as humans, even to our detriment. And so we'll fight to be right, even if it's causing breakdown in our lives. And so, being willing to be wrong is what's going to allow you to, like, imagine if I could do both hands right now, I would, but it's like you have both feet on one side. You have, let's say, both feet in one room, and you need to get to the next room to shift your energy set point. So you actually need to, like, pick up both feet and walk to the other room in order to shift to that other room. If you're committed to having one foot in this room because it's just what you've always known, it's what's comfortable, it's what you know, and you want to get to the other room, like you need to pick up this other foot or you're never going to get to the other room. So picking up your foot to walk to the other room so that you can be both feet in the other room is what allows you to, like, stop the oscillation, rather, to be able to shift sustainably and permanently to the new energy set point. Being willing to be wrong. That is point number 1. So in the thread right now, please comment below one thing that you're willing to be wrong about, because in your willingness to be wrong about that one thing is an opportunity for you to shift into a new thing. And even if that new thing feels impossible, or it feels like, who am I to create this or receive this, or, like, that doesn't seem likely, that doesn't seem logical, I don't really get how that would work, whatever, I'm not qualified, like, whatever limitations or thoughts are coming through around that, like, don't even worry. But what are you willing to be wrong about? Because if you're willing to be wrong, that's the first step. That's the first key. Then you're creating space to be able to see that other water fountain. Okay, so comment in the thread below. What are you willing to be wrong about? Let's see, Nikki, hi. Dina, thank you for the hearts. Christina, so good to see you here. Hello. Nikki says, thank you, so true. I'm so exhausted at the moment. Change is coming. That's amazing. Shani says, tunnel vision, determination. I only see one way. Yep, recap. Exactly. Okay, so please comment below with the one thing you're willing to be wrong about. Exciting. Okay, number 2. Let's get to point number 2. The question is this: who is in your corner? So people are very sensitive. Like, some of you self-identify as sensitive, and I'm definitely one of those people too. But even if you're somebody who doesn't really necessarily identify as sensitive, people's energy is affecting you. People's words are powerful. Your words are powerful. And when you hear people say certain words or have a certain energy around things around you, they will influence you. They penetrate your essence, your energy, and it influences your beliefs and your thoughts and your understanding about the world. And so the second key is identifying who is in your corner. There's this story about a farmer who, like, he's like a crab farmer, and he works with, he like goes out and he collects crabs and he farms them, and then he puts them in a bucket in a market to sell. And so he's in the market, he's got his crabs in a bucket, and people walk by and they get the crabs from him. And so one guy said to him, he was like, "What? Like, these crabs are just in these open buckets. Like, aren't you afraid they're gonna crawl out and escape, and then you're gonna lose your, like, this is your living. Like, you're gonna lose money, you're gonna lose your resources. Are you afraid about that?" And then the farmer said, "Actually, no. And here's why. It's because as soon as one crab starts to climb out of the bucket, the other crabs come in and pull him down. So the crabs can't ever escape, because as soon as one crab starts to climb up and out of the bucket, the other crabs use their pinchers and pull him down." So there are people in your world who will try to be that crab that pulls you down. you know, I experienced this when I was doing body transformation. Like I would eat a certain way, like eat really, really clean, and like eat a very specific certain way. And eating is one of those things, it's like religion. People really get triggered around, like, you know, are you vegan? Are you an omnivore? Do you die? Like the whole thing about like diets are the worst. Like, I mean, people have serious points of views about eating. So I don't really talk about that. I don't really share unless somebody asks me. But I had a friend one time who I was like, you know, I'm eating really clean today. I'm like, whatever. And she was like, well, don't you want to come get ice cream? And trying to like enroll me into going to get ice. And believe me, I freaking, like, I'm an ice cream fiend. Like, it's my jam. I love ice cream so much. But I was like, no, I'm eating really clean today. I'm really committed to that. And she was like kind of giving me trouble about the fact that I wanted to eat clean that day. She was actually a crab in the bucket that was trying to pull me down. And people don't realize they're doing it, but that's actually what people do. That's like how my family was when I was starting my business. And like, I hate to say it. And of course, they're my biggest supporters now. But like, a lot of my family members were like, what are you doing? Like, entrepreneurship is not for you. Like, who are you to be a coach? I mean, these very detrimental, not encouraging things that they were saying. They were the crab in the bucket pulling me down, to be honest with you. And I had to get out of that bucket. So I had to scramble out of that bucket and like get the hell away for a little while so I could cultivate a community that encouraged me. And that's exactly what my coaching community that I was in at the time really did for me. That's what my coaches, my clients in Maya, my students in Maya experience, Money Alignment Yoga Academy. It's like the ultimate encouragement. That's like what it was in leadership that I was talking about here in the beginning. It's like the ultimate encouragement, the ultimate community to lift you up and support you. And if there's one thing I know for sure, it's that lone wolfing it definitely doesn't work. And being in a community, whether it's like a relationship or a job or like a friend group, like for example, it's like the group of friends that are all single and like giving each other love advice. Like that doesn't even make sense. Like why would you go to your single friends for love advice and like to like bitch about men? Like I know so many girls who do that, and it's like that's never going to get you a guy. That's energetically never going to get you a guy, because those are crabs in the bucket pulling each other down. And again, this goes back to the first point, people love to be right. So even though it's like, you know, those friends were like really wanting relationship and really wanting love, what they wanted more, to be honest, based on results, was to be right. They wanted to be right about their limitations, about why they were single, et cetera, et cetera. And so they'd hang out, bitch about guys, talk about being single so that they could stay committed to being right, and then, you know, be the crab that pulls each other down. I have so many tangents I could go off on about that, but I'm going to stay focused. So who are you hanging out with? Who's in your corner? Are you in a community that lifts you up, that boosts you, that encourages you, that builds you up? Or do you have anyone, not even just one person in your world, who's like, shh, like that energy drain, the crab in the bucket that pulls you down? Because guess what? That is a person that is causing you to stay at a certain energy set point, keeping you at that thermostat level. That is, it's like no matter what you do, right? Like no matter how hard you work, no matter how much energy you put into it, you're finding yourself at that same energetic set point. And there's nothing you can do about it. But there is something you can do. You can take a look at, number one, are you willing to be wrong? That was key shift number one. Number two, who's in your corner? Are there any crabs in the bucket in your world that are pulling you down? You need to fix that situation. I'm not saying it's easy, by the way. It wasn't easy to not talk to my family for a few months as I was getting myself started and really just immersing myself in the community that supported me. It wasn't easy to go through the breakups that I've been through in order to get to the next level, but it's what needed to happen, and I was willing to do it. I was willing to be wrong. I was willing to whatever, all of that, be alone, be judged, be all of it, because that's ultimately what got me to my next level of my energy set point, and so on. And it's always beautiful. Like, it might be hard in the moment, but if you're willing to trust the universe and trust yourself and trust God, then miracles happen. That's a faith thing, that's a trust thing, and I can promise you that that's how it works. It's just, again, you need to be willing. Dina, so thank you all for sharing vulnerably. What are you willing to be wrong about? Dina says, she's willing to be wrong about not being smart enough to complete her passion. Hearts and likes if you can relate to Dina. I know I definitely could relate to that when I was first starting. And it's like, as you do it, you just create more and more evidence that like, oh my gosh, maybe I am smart enough. And it's like, you get more and more evidence and more belief in yourself. Nikki says, willing to be wrong about not deserving my wealth I'm creating at the moment. So great. Shamika, I am willing to be wrong about I can't pay off all my debt by the end of the year. Yes, that's such a good thing to be willing to be wrong about. Shawnee says body image. Yes. So every morning I like to check in with like, what am I willing to be wrong about? And I also like to check in with who's in my corner, who's encouraging me today. And you guys, the people that are encouraging you, you want to draw them closer and you want to give to them. You want to encourage them right back. You know, like in the Maya community, in my group coaching program, it's like the more that you give, the more that you receive. The more that, so look at even in this thread right now, this is so cool. Nikki's encouraging Dina. Like, this is what I'm talking about. Like, this is what it's like to put yourself in the community, in the environment, in the atmosphere of encouragement of other like-minded people. Okay? So that's point number 2. Point number 3 is this. Get out of the head spin, get into the body wisdom. Get out of the head spin, get into the body wisdom. So I learned very early on in my journey of dharma, of purpose. Dharma is a Sanskrit word for life purpose. That if I didn't go into my body at least once a day, I was effed. You know what I mean? If I didn't go into my body, into my practice, into my flow, into my breath, into my movement at least once a day, even if it was 5 minutes a day, I was not setting myself up to win. There is a distinction for me between the days when I spend a few minutes or an hour or 20 minutes or whatever in my body, like rolling around on the floor, breathing, downward facing dog, couple vinyasas, resistance training, dancing, like spending time in my body, prioritizing it every day, even if it's like a happy baby. And that's all that gets to happen that day. Whatever it is, if I didn't spend time in my body that day did not go well. And like the stresses seemed bigger, and it's all perspective, you know, like fear and stress aren't really real. It's like the stories that and the fears that your mind attaches to it. So on that topic of fear, you know, like if there's a day that I have fear come up, I go into a root chakra practice or like, you know, hip opening, right? So like warrior poses, butterfly pose, wide leg forward fold. Because when you go into opening your root chakra, you're clearing out fear because that's a certain vibration. So if you're opening and aligning to the essence of the root chakra, which is fearlessness, and like if it's aligned, it's like you're solid, you're rooted, you're grounded, right? Then you can approach. Nikki says, what's a happy baby? Nikki, Google happy baby yoga pose and you'll see what I'm talking about. Or if you if you go to my previous Dharma Talk Tuesday, I offer the 7-day chakra opening yoga challenge, and I talk about it there too for the root chakra. So I actually guide you through a 15-minute yoga practice for every chakra. So 7-day chakra opening for 7 chakras, 7 days of yoga, 15 minutes each. So if you go back to my previous Dharma Talk Tuesday, it's all there. You're welcome to grab it. And then it'll make a lot more sense. So yeah. So, or like if there's a day that I wake up and I'm like resistant to change, even if it's good change, then I'll go into my sacral chakra practice and do like a lunge or some dancer pose or lizard pose, because that's opening through the sacral chakra, and it's like, it aligns me away from resisting change and into gracefully flowing with change. So when you're in your practice, when you're in your body, you're doing what your mind cannot. You are aligning and shifting, because here's the thing, you're not a head on a stick. Like you're a body with energy systems that when you work on the energy systems and you focus on aligning them and opening them specifically in such a way that, you know, different energy systems correspond with different things that are happening in your life. And so if you are focused on one of them that's really affecting something, so for example, the energy of giving and receiving is connected to the heart chakra, so you can do poses connected to the heart chakra. So this is what I do every day. This is a non-negotiable for me. And the reason is because I discovered many years ago, specifically 13 years ago, that if I didn't do that, I was like a monster. And I feel called to say for some reason right now, if you're in the position of a caretaker, like if you're somebody who's taking care of your parent or a child, or if you're like in a caretaking position, I was in that position a few years ago when my dad had a stroke and he went to the hospital, and he was in the hospital and in rehab for many months. Thank God he survived. I mean, he wasn't gonna, like the doctor said he wasn't gonna survive, but he did. So thank God and blessings for that. But in that very urgent time, it was hard to commit to doing my yoga practice because I felt like I need to wake up and get to the hospital ASAP to make sure I'm there in case my dad wakes up, or so I can like pray for him and be there and all of that. And I noticed that on the days that I didn't do my practice, I was very emotional and I was not strong. And my family needed me to be strong. And I noticed on the days that I just spent an extra 10, 15 minutes on my yoga mat, just downward facing dog and lunge and vinyasas and whatever I could muster that day, even if it was just 15 minutes, I was like a different human for them. I even had one of my clients message me today. She's taking care of her mom who has stage 4 cancer. And she's trying to build her business at the same time, which is exactly the position I was in when my dad got sick, whenever it was 5 or 6 years ago. And she said, thank you for the yoga practice because it's the only thing that's holding me up right now. It is the number one thing that's holding me up right now. And so whether you're in that really dire position or you're a caretaker or you're just kind of like in maintenance mode or you're in growth mode with your business or your relationships or whatever, I promise you that doing that practice, and if, again, Nikki was asking about the 7-day chakra opening yoga challenge, you can definitely go back to my previous Dharma Talk Tuesdays. I posted it in the last 2 and go grab it. And that's what it's there for. And it's meant to really help you and ground you and support you and create stability for you. So the power in that is that it gets you out of the ego, out of the head spin, out of the fear, out of the I can't, because out of all the reasons why you're right about why you can't do something, right? And then it helps you be willing to be wrong about what you're wanting to create. It helps you shift to be brave, to shift your relationships, to not be pulled back by the other crabs in the bucket that are trying to pull you back. I mean, it was my yoga practice that helped me transform and shift all my relationships. So I'm only, if you're in my world and you present any kind of negative energy, I'll be compassionate and I'll be supportive, but the closest people around me are very responsible with their energy. They've done leadership work, they've done personal development work, they've invested lots of money, thousands of dollars. Not that you need to invest thousands of dollars to be my friend, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying it's about a commitment to take yourself on, humble yourself, be willing to be wrong, do the personal development work. I see Karen joining right now. Karen just graduated from HCL2. What's up, Karen in the house? She took herself on. She was willing to be wrong about all the things that were holding her back. And now she is elevating and growing and shifting. And she is like a new human, like a whole new person, right? I know Christina is watching right now. Same thing for her. There's a lot of you who are, Shawnee's in Maya, Shamika was in Maya. There's a lot of you. Dina just joined Maya. What's up, Dina? There's a lot of you who are just so Christina, yeah. So you're committed to that path. That's what I'm talking about. And so you want to make a decision. Where are you willing to draw the line in your world? Are people uplifting you? Are they encouraging you or not? And it's your yoga practice oftentimes that's going to help you create the courage and the bravery and the willingness to do all these shifts. It's the chakra opening. It's, the other thing I say is that, and by the way, I'm just going to preface this. I'm well aware that the Bible talks about the body as being the sinful and all of that. I'm well aware of that, but I'll tell you one thing for sure. God talks to me through my body wisdom. And if my body is not in alignment, if I'm, oh my God, Sasha Sterling, hi. I was just thinking about you today. So if I'm out of alignment in my body, if I'm feeling icky in my body, if I haven't done my yoga practice for that day, it's I can't hear God's voice. I can't hear that wisdom come through. I can't hear those insights. So it's actually in doing my yoga practice that I'm able to receive the wisdom from God, receive those nudges, those taps on the shoulder, the insight, the wisdom. That's how I talk to God, is through my practice and my body wisdom. So it gets me out of my head and into my body. I had another story I was going to tell, but I feel like it's not as relevant right now, to be honest. So let's see who's here. Nikki says, can't wait, will do. I need this, thank you. Evelyn, hello. Roxana, glad you're appreciating this. Nikki says, I've not practiced for a week. Very emotional, grumpy, and distracted. We'll find time on my mat tonight. That's what I'm talking about, Nikki. Yes, yes, Christina. So much change going on, and it's all amazing, but also scary. And my yoga and spiritual practices keep me grounded and in clarity. That's exactly what I'm talking about. That's exactly what I'm talking about. So those of you who have stayed on to the end and are ready to receive this special thing that's just for the first 7 people, here's the deal. If you're resonating with the whole chakra thing and you're like, I wonder which chakra in my body is out of alignment and which practice I should be working on, which area I should be focusing on shifting, then I've got something really special for you, and it's a chakra reading. It's one of the most popular things that I give and that I do. It's actually complimentary. That's why it's a gift that I'm giving to the first 7 people who send me a private message and say, hey, I would love a chakra reading. Or comment below in this thread and say, hey, I would love a chakra reading. And here's the cool thing about it. It's like, rather than, because like a lot of us, Dina's already like at root chakra, done. Yeah, Dina, love you, girl. Proud of you. Like if I could do an hour and a half practice every day for all of my chakras to get like all that deep body wisdom, I would do it hands down every day. The problem is that I don't have an hour and a half every day to do my practice. And so Roxana just got your message. Awesome. Christina. Yes, yes, yes. Stephanie. Awesome. This is so great. They're already, Lisa, boom, done. This is so great. They're already coming in. So yeah, those are getting claimed really quickly. Nikki, as you can see, these are coming in really fast. Good. I'm so glad you guys are excited about this. So yes, I'm happy to do those chakra readings with you ladies. So excited to connect with every single one of you. Yay. Okay. So if you don't have an hour and a half to do a yoga practice, then guess what? If you just do 15 minutes on one chakra, but not just any chakra, like the one chakra that would most shift your world and your life, then wouldn't that make a difference? Like rather than just doing an hour and a half on everything, how about one practice that's 15 minutes that focuses in, that lasers in on the one thing you need most right now? Would that not make a difference for you? Yes. Awesome. This is so cool. I love that all of these are coming in. So yeah, I'm looking forward to speaking with all of you, and I'll message you back and I'll find time with you this week. So I'll fit those in tomorrow and Friday. Yay! Can't wait to meet you or to talk to you if I already know you, if I've already met you. So that's the end. If you know someone who would really resonate with, who needs to hear this message, please, 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 don't be stingy. Share this Facebook Live. Hit the share button. Tag them in the comment thread below. And just, can you imagine, like I always say this, but it's so, I really mean it. Like, can you imagine a world where people aren't the crabs in the buckets that pull each other down, where like everyone's encouraging each other to go for it, to support each other, to trust each other, to trust themselves? It would literally, like the world would be unrecognizable. Like we wouldn't have to worry about like starvation because people would take care of each other. We wouldn't have to worry about plastic straws because people would get that plastic straws are a freaking detriment to the environment, and they would like have the bandwidth to care about that. Like we wouldn't have to worry about like the population of dolphins off the coast of Baja, that there's only like 100 left and they're going to be going extinct soon, or the fact that orangutans in the wild are going to be extinct in 5 to 10 years. I mean, this is the stuff that keeps me up at night. And it's because people don't have the bandwidth to care because they're in their like selfish focus mode trying to just get by on a day-to-day basis. So thank you for being part of the movement to get people to care, to lift people up, to not only lift yourself up, but to lift others up and join them with you by sharing messages like this. And, whether it's me or whether it's somebody else that you follow who has a similar effect for you that lifts you up and inspires you, and like share it. Don't be stingy. Like share. Awesome. Thanks you all. I will see you next week. I promise you I will be there for Dharma Talk Tuesday, 6 p.m., no matter what. So very sorry again for the breakdown this week. That's what happens when you, it's like that phrase, like that's, whose quotes? I think it might be T.S. Eliot. You'll never know how far you can go until you've gone too far. And I definitely stretched my plate pretty thin this past week. And created a breakdown. But like I always celebrate the breakdowns. Here's what I do when I get a breakdown. I go, yes, because it means there's about to be a breakthrough. So it's a total energy shift, and I invite you to do the same thing. All right, all. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Boy, that was funny. All right, sending you all love. See you next week, 6 p.m. Pacific, Dharma Talk Tuesday, right here.